On March the 12th of this year, 2012, a lawsuit that had been going on for several years due to the mortgage downturn and economic downturn, 49 state attorney generals sued the 6 major mortgage companies in the United States. And that lawsuit had been going on for about 5 years now. So from 2008 to December the 31st of 2011, they were suing to stop foreclosures on people who were victims of predatory lending. What is predatory lending? Predatory lending practices are when you went into a mortgage broker or you went into a bank and they penalized you unnecessarily and gave you a very, very high interest rate. Or they gave you what's called balloon mortgages, where you have interest-only payments for 5 years, and then at the end of 5 years, it ballooned to something that you couldn't afford. Or you got a mortgage that they knew you couldn't afford up front, but they gave it to you anyway. And they gave you tiered payments, or they gave you a payment plan that they knew you could make in the beginning, but you wouldn't eventually be able to make it, and so you would be foreclosed on. So those are some of the predatory lending practices. Some people were penalized for minor things on their credit report. They were increased by 3%. Some people were penalized for being self-employed. So once they looked at it and the state attorney general was sued, this lawsuit went on for, like I said, 5 years. And in March 12th of this year, they settled. What does that mean? When they settled for $25 billion worth of relief. That $25 billion worth of relief comes in the form of mortgage principal and interest reductions. So for people who owe more on their house than what their house is worth, okay, under the settlement program with these 6 major lenders, and I'm going to name them off for you, they're Ally, GMAC, Bank of America, Citigroup, JP Morgan Chase, and Wells Fargo. They are on the front page of this packet here. When they settled for the $25 billion in relief, like I said, that was for principal and interest reduction. Okay, so that means that if you owe more than what your house is worth, you may be entitled to a reduction in your principal amount of your mortgage or your interest rate to bring your payment in line as to what it should have been. They also settled for people who had interest rates above 6% who they thought may have been victims of predatory lending. Why? Because most of the people who were qualified for mortgages shouldn't have been anywhere near what they are. For example, there's people that have 10.5% mortgage rates, 8% mortgage rates, 9% mortgage rates, and these are on people who normally would have qualified for less of an interest rate. So what they said is that anybody over 6% was probably a victim of predatory lending. When they made the settlement, what they did is, because there's so many people that are covered under this settlement, these 6 banks represent 95% of the mortgages in the United States. So 9 times out of 10, somebody you know or yourself will fall into the category of benefiting from the national mortgage settlement. So because there were 6 lenders and there were so many people that fell under the settlement, they said, well, we're going to give you 3 years to make sure you reach all of these people. What does that mean, and why I'm standing here is that there are some of you that probably qualify for national mortgage settlement benefits, but you're not on the priority list to call because you are not either A, behind on your mortgage right now, B, your interest rate probably is not as severe as some of the other ones, or C, you're not as upside down on your house as other people are. So you are going to eventually get a call or a letter, and then you'll be able to take advantage of your national mortgage settlement benefits. But if you are aware of them, you can call and get them immediately. So that's the reason why I'm going around and telling people about this, because you may not be in trouble right now, but you may be coming up on a problem, or you may know in a month or so that you might be needing it, and you may not be on the priority list to call. Now, in addition to the principal and interest reduction program under the settlement, there is a benefit for wrongful foreclosures, meaning that in January the 1st of 2008 to December the 31st of 2011, if you were a victim of predatory lending and you were wrongfully foreclosed on by any of these 6 banks that I just spoke about, that there is a wrongful foreclosure settlement in here. And what happens is that when you were wrongfully foreclosed on, what they would do is you would find your mortgage coupon that you had before, your lending statement. If it's one of these banks, you're going to call the number that corresponds to that bank, and you're going to ask for your national mortgage settlement benefits for wrongful foreclosure. What they're going to do at that point is they're going to send you out some paperwork to fill out to assess how bad you were affected by the foreclosure and how much compensation you would need to get back on your feet. And they will give you a certain amount of money. Now, there have been settlements, $10,000, $15,000. And I know that while that's not a whole lot of money, but that's a lot of money to somebody who doesn't have a house and who's down on their luck. And so, for wrongful foreclosures that occurred from January 1st of 2008 to December the 31st of 2011, if you call the corresponding bank number and tell them that you may be able to get some compensation for being wrongfully foreclosed on. The other thing that occurred with this settlement is that many veterans were coming back from the war and they were homeless because their wives and their family couldn't maintain their mortgage while they were away. There is a Veterans Housing Benefit Program for $10 million involved in this settlement. And what that would do is that would help a veteran who is in the process of being foreclosed on, who has been foreclosed on, either get housing placement, be able to stop their mortgage foreclosure, get a loan modification, decrease their principal and interest, and it's geared toward the veterans so that way they're not homeless when they come back from war. Basically, with the National Mortgage Settlement Program, because the state attorney general sued those 6 banks, you would be able to call, ask them for your benefits. If they do not give you your benefits and you qualify, the state attorney general has a hotline, which is on the blank page with just the little address and phone number on top. The state attorney general has a hotline that's 850-414-3300, and it's on this paper in the handout. If you were wrongfully foreclosed on, or if you're in need of your national mortgage settlement benefits and they do not give them to you, you can call the state attorney general's hotline, and they will get your national mortgage settlement benefits for you. That is the National Mortgage Settlement Benefit Program. I'm going to take a minute and go through the numbers so that you know which ones to call. On this page right here, there's all the numbers for the bank. So Ally and GMAC have the exact same number. That's 800-766-4622. That's 800-766-4622. Bank of America, 877-488-7814. Bank of America, 877-488-7814. You have Citigroup, 866-272-4749. That's 866-272-4749. JP Morgan Chase, 866-372-6901. That's 866-372-6901. And Wells Fargo is 800-288-3212. That's 800-288-3212. Now, if you qualify, or you feel like you qualify, there are 4 pages attached to that National Mortgage Settlement handout. When you read through it, it's going to go through it in a little bit more detail than what I've gone through here. There are other benefits under the National Mortgage Settlement Program, but the ones that I spoke to you about are the most popular ones, the ones that most people fall into. Remember, under the National Mortgage Settlement, these 6 banks represent 95% of the mortgages in the United States. We've had people that have called in and they've said, oh, we don't know what you're talking about. And they say, oh, you want a loan modification, and transfer them to the loan modification department. You do not want a loan modification. You want your National Mortgage Settlement benefits. Under the rules of the settlement, when you call in and you ask, they have to tell you what you're entitled to and give you that in writing. And if you accept that, that benefit goes into effect within, I think, 30 days of your call. So by the time your next mortgage payment or mortgage cycle have come up, it would be in effect. And that's why it's so significant to stand here tonight and tell you. I'm going to take questions at the end after I've presented all 3 programs. And then we'll also, I have here next to me Raphael from the Hardest Hit program, and that's going to be the program that I talk about next. The Hardest Hit program is a program that was created in 2010. And the reason why it's called the Hardest Hit program, because the state of Florida was one of the states that was the hardest hit for unemployment and foreclosures related to job loss. So in 2010, the U.S. Treasury created, and through the Housing Finance Agency, created the Hardest Hit program. And what this program is designed to do is, if you are unemployed or underemployed, meaning you've lost your job completely and you cannot pay your mortgage, or you've experienced a decrease in hours at work by 10% or greater, and you cannot afford your mortgage, or someone in your household has lost their job and your income for your household has decreased. This program is called the Hardest Hit program, and what it does is it has unemployment mortgage assistance that will provide up to 12 months worth of your mortgage payments with a cap of $24,000 for 1 year. So 12 months, 1 year, $24,000 cap if you are unemployed or underemployed. And the gentleman to my left, Mr. Raphael, he's here tonight because he's going to be processing applications for the Hardest Hit program if you need that. Now, he has flyers that he's handed out that look like this. They have a code on them. His program requires that you go to the website, you get your mortgage documents, like your mortgage interest statement, your loan statement that you pay your mortgage. You need to know who owns your loan. It's very important that you know who owns your loan. Many times, when you're making payments to a servicer. So a lot of people will look at me and say, well, my mortgage company is not on that list. I'm paying ABC credit, or I'm paying Sunshine credit. Those are servicers. If it is not the name of a bank, you probably are making your payment to a mortgage servicer. What you would need to do is call that mortgage servicer up and find out who actually owns your loan, so that you can get the accurate person for them to contact for you.